podcast with Paul Solendrop of Wichita State University Strategic Communications. Today's guests are Wichita State softball pitching coach Presley Bell and pitcher Lauren Howell. We're going to talk softball in advance of this weekend's Black and Yellow Challenge at Wilkins Stadium. Shockers will play 2 games each against Western Illinois and Bradley on Saturday and Sunday to open their home schedule. Wichita State is 12-3. The Shockers moved into the national rankings this week as high as number 23 in one of the polls after winning 7 in a row. And the pitching staff is off to a strong start, 2.25 ERA, 9 complete games, and 5 shutouts. Lauren Howell is a junior. She's from Jefferson City, Missouri, a transfer from Arkansas. She is 5-1 with a 1.35 ERA. So Lauren, you're at the famous Central Dairy in Jefferson City, Missouri. What's your go-to order?
I'm a pretty plain person, so I typically just get like chocolate chip ice cream. But
describe Central Dairy for people who have not been there. I've been there. It's fabulous. Why is it such a well-known place in Jeff City?
they have great service, and when you go in there, you don't really see ice cream being $2, and for the amount that you get, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, you get in there and you get out, and the ice cream's pretty good.
Okay, if you're ever in mid-Missouri, you owe yourself a stop at Central Dairy, definitely. The Shockers are ranked, as we said. So, Presley, what's it like in Wilkins Stadium when those polls hit the Twitter machine? Is it a big deal? Does it mean a lot for perception, recruiting, excitement, or is it just another day?
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I think we were all pretty excited to see those numbers come out this past week. We did have a really good weekend down in Denton, Texas. 2 wins against North Texas. A pretty good postseason North Texas team is a good win for us. So I was pretty excited, especially knowing we open up at home this weekend. So kind of having those numbers come out, Twitter is great to get the information out to all of our fans, but to really pack the crowd this weekend. So I think it's a good start for us opening up at home and having 3 weekends here in March to get the home crowd behind us.
Okay, Presley, let's go back to the fall. So you showed up knowing the staff had to replace 2 real experienced pitchers, Caitlin Bingham and Aaron McDonald. How did you start the process of taking this largely new group or inexperienced group and getting it ready to compete?
Yeah, I mean, Kate and Aaron were 5th-year seniors. They had been here before. They had experienced all of it. Kinsey and Allie, they were sophomores, so they had experienced a little bit their freshman year but didn't get a ton. So at least they were coming back with a little bit of how this all worked. I had 2 freshmen coming in, Alex and Sarah, so they were brand new. Lauren transferred into us, so she was brand new into our staff, into our little program. So I think I was kind of able to really make this group a little bit of my own. Allie and Kins were my first ones, my first year as a pitching coach. Everyone else was new. So I think kind of just like railing them in a little bit, kind of getting them on the same page of what I want our staff to look like, how we're going to work towards this, how we're going to work together as a staff, and kind of develop, our work ethic that way. We really worked hard in the fall, did a lot of pitching conditioning, worked at our bullpens, talked a lot. I like to talk through things. I think if we're on the same page, we can kind of get to where we want to go in a successful way. So I think just kind of like having a fresh set of girls with me, kind of like my first year, them all being mine, was pretty helpful and like a breath of fresh air almost to kind of get them to where I want to go and how we want to move forward this year.
Lauren, so you come into a new school, new classes, new teammates, all of that. How do you go about adjusting, getting comfortable with these surroundings?
Yeah, I was a little nervous for sure, but I knew that I was going to have to come in and work my butt off, and I knew that it wasn't going to be easy, and I was going to have to adjust in a way that I haven't in the past. And yeah, they've all made it pretty welcoming here, and I just think I was comfortable and felt at home being here and being around all my teammates.
Tell us about how you chose Wichita State.
When I entered the portal, I didn't really have an intention of playing softball, and I kind of just was keeping an open mind, and some of the coaches that reached out to me, I was like, wow, these are really good college coaches, and talked to a few of them, Coach B being one of them. And she just had a lot of confidence in me, and talking to her on the phone just made me feel like comfortable again, and she just brought me in, and I just really loved it here. So
you mentioned entering the portal. Maybe it'd be helpful for people to understand the process, because I know fans now they're totally clued into the transfer portal. It exists. It's a big thing. As an athlete, what are the steps? How do you enter the portal?
Yeah, so when you want to enter the portal, you just go to some one-on-one compliance, and they'll walk you through the process. But I had a lot of teammates that were transfers, so I reached out to them just to see what it was kind of like. I knew it was kind of overwhelming. But yeah, you just get the email and basically just send all your stuff in, and it just goes straight into the portal, and then you're in there, and all the coaches can reach out to you whenever they want.
Okay. Presley, for fans who are going to get out and see the Shockers this weekend, give them a description of the pitchers, the pitching staff, and how they go about doing their jobs.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at our stats, you can tell that, Lauren, Allie, and Alex kind of hold the heavier amount of innings for us a little bit. Kinsey has seen a couple of innings and stuff like that, but we're really just trying to hit the ground running. We'll get a good start from either Allie, Lauren, or Alex. They can all really work as starters, but then Alex has done a pretty good job coming in late games this year, kind of shutting the door for us a little bit. We're just ready to get after it. It might be a little bit chilly this weekend, but I think this weekend's another good weekend for us to really get some innings under our belt, work on attacking hitters, attacking spots, stuff like that, just continuing to build some confidence within, those three starters, if you will, but just kind of all five of my girls as a staff.
So I know we talked before the season started about using people in different situations, complementing each other with pitching styles. Tell us a little bit about that, how these pitchers kind of mesh together and help each other.
Yeah, Lauren definitely throws the hardest of the five, which is good. We haven't had, a lot of speed really in the past couple years. So that's good. She can work up in the zone, down in the zone. She has a really good off speed and change up, stuff like that. Allie's a lefty, so it's a little bit funky just from the get-go because it's coming from the different side. She can work a little bit east to west. She does have a good drop ball and a really good change-up. Alex has a rise ball, good screwball. She's working her curve and everything on the outside corner. Her screwball and her rise ball are really, really effective. She really has the ability to go inside hard on hitters, which is big. Kinsey, same kind of deal. She has a rise. She's really good whenever she can hone in and really effectively hit the knees. She has really good natural spin. And then I have Sarah, who's another lefty, who throws the slowest of the group, but that's not always a bad thing. It's really hard to sit and wait on something like that, and she has a really good changeup. She kind of has three different speeds. That's a little bit tough. So they all complement each other in a different way, in a really good way. So like I said, we were able, Lauren started that last North Texas game. We were able to bring in Alex. She closed the door. So just it's a different kind of look. They are similar in certain ways, but they all have their own presence. They're all an individual, to say the least. So they're not all mediocre, or they don't all look the same. They help each other a lot, which is, you need that now. You need a staff. You need all those different parts.
So that would be one piece of it then, having pitchers who complement each other and have variety. How big a role does video, scout reports, preparation then play in figuring out the plan?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, there's so much technology out there nowadays. It's really kind of transformed our game. And so why not take advantage? So, I watch film. Coach B watches film. We've really gotten the girls watching film this year. In the past, Coach E's really done a good job with our hitters. Scouting, watching film every single day. It's part of practice. So as a pitching staff, we've kind of incorporated that into our daily routine. So the girls watch film. I have them fill out notes about what they see about the hitter. What does their barrel path tell you, how they stand in the box, when they attack, like in the count, stuff like that. So that's 3 sets of eyes, watching film before we play an opponent, which I think's helped us a lot. As you're writing notes down and you see a girl, once they step in the box, you're like, oh, I've already pitched to you twice. Even though you haven't, but you feel more comfortable, you feel more confident in how we're going to attack that hitter. So I think that's helped us quite a bit.
So Lauren, what's most helpful for you when you do the video study?
Yeah, I think I like to see where players stand in the box for me, because it just shows which side I need to work the most. And just looking at their bat path too, I like to see if they roll over the ball, get underneath it, just for certain pitches that I throw, because I have a rise and a drop, so knowing that helps me a lot with their swing.
So Lauren, you were wearing number 2 here at Wichita State. Is there a story behind your selection of that number?
Through travel ball and high school ball, I've always had different numbers, so I'm not really partial towards any specific number. At Arkansas, I was 5, but I just kind of wanted to change it up a little bit, and I've been 2 in travel ball, so I just decided to go with 2 here.
So Lauren, tell us about growing up. Was softball always your number 1 sport? Did you play other sports in high school?
Yes. I only played softball in high school, but in grade school I played basketball and volleyball and stuff like that. And I enjoyed all the sports that I played. I liked basketball, probably the second best after softball. But I was always very competitive as a kid, and growing up around my family, they're very competitive as well. So, but softball's just number 1 in my family.
What about softball grabbed you?
So my grandpa was actually a men's fast pitch pitcher, and my dad played baseball, and so I just grew up kind of around that aspect, and I've seen videos of him pitching, I've seen pictures, and it just kind of took an interest in what I wanted to do, and pitching was just kind of in my blood.
So Presley, you're checking the transfer portal and you see a pitcher pop up. What's the recruiting pitch from Wichita State softball?
I mean, the name of the game for us, we've always been really, really offensive heavy. You know, we've been able to produce. We've always just kind of lacked a little bit in the circle. So anytime we see a pitcher in the transfer portal, you know, we want to get you on campus, especially if we know that you're someone that can compete and has good tools that can really help us. We need you. You know, we need all the arms that we can get. We know that we're going to produce runs, but we've always just kind of lacked that competitive drive, that shutdown kind of demeanor in the circle. So whenever we see a pitcher pop up that we know that can compete, that we can make better here, we really want to get after it.
Lauren, was that attractive to you, Wichita State's history with offense and the people they had coming back, knowing you were probably going to get pretty good run support on most game days?
Yes, I knew their offense was very good, and I knew they had some good pitching as well, and I knew that I could come in here and that this team could really help me and that I could help this team as well, just getting my confidence back. And I think our staff has done such a good job of welcoming me in, and we all just work together so well.
So Lauren, describe preparing for this spring, because it was going to be different. You were going to throw a lot more than you did the previous 2 seasons. How did you go about getting ready for this?
Yeah, I just knew I had to get my mind right. I knew that I've always been a competitor, and playing in travel ball, that was me. I was pretty much the horse, the bulldog, so I had to get that mentality back and work my butt off in the winter to get to where I am right now.
So 15 games in, was there a point, a game, where Presley, you really began to feel good about the pitching staff?
Yeah, I think, early on we got tested pretty well. We went to Texas State, and Texas State's a really good team. And that first game we won 3-2. If you look in the past, not many times were we winning games, 3-2, or kind of low scoring games that we're coming out on top. So I was like, we're really holding people. We're not scoring 12 runs, but we're getting a dub at the end of the day. So I think that was kind of huge. Just really kind of showed that, we are a little bit more mature in the circle, and we are able to kind of get the job done. Even if our offense hasn't shown up like we're used to it, we can still rely on our circle to, execute pitches, get effective outs, stuff like that, work quick to get us back in the dugout, but we can hold teams to just 2 runs, which is kind of huge.
Lauren, how about you? Has there been a little bit of a light bulb moment this early in the season where you thought, boy, things are going well at this point?
Yeah, I think it's getting there. I think our last game, we showed a lot of heart, and this team's gritty. We got it, I think, in pitching and offense. We just need to click all together, and we're going to be pretty stellar.
So, Lauren, when you are using this, complementary style of managing the bullpen, managing the staff like we've talked about, I guess when you're the starter, you've got to have confidence in your teammate. You've got to say, well, I'd love to finish this off, but it's better for someone else to come in. How do you get mentally to that point where you're confident in handing somebody else the softball?
Yeah, I think in that North Texas game, I was pitching a pretty good game, but I knew that I had gone through that lineup quite a few times, and then bringing Alex in, I had a lot of confidence in her. She's come in and done really well in situations, and I had no doubt in my mind that she was going to finish that game. And I was super proud of her. Seeing her do that as a freshman is pretty huge. And honestly, I think any one of our pitchers can do that, because we're not overpowering by no means, but we're going to give it all we got when we go out there every single time.
So we're 15 games in. Shockers are 12-3. Things are going to get tougher with the non-conference schedule. Got some great teams coming into Wilkins Stadium. Conference play is always challenging. So Presley, how does the message change now that we're into March and the season begins to turn a little bit?
Yeah, I think the message pretty much stays the same. When I want them to go out there and compete, and always, if I always tell them, I was like, if you need to think you're throwing to our hitters, do it. We have one of the best offenses in the country, and that's only going to make them better. They threw against our team quite a bit in January leading up to our season. I think the biggest thing is just how game-like can I make their bullpens for them, moving forward. How much pressure can I add on them into their bullpen so that whenever they get into the game, into these tougher opponents leading into conference, stuff like that, they feel like they've already been there. So it calms them down a little bit. They're able to still hit their spots. They don't really hit, a freak-out mode or anything like that. They're not trying too hard. So I think that's the biggest thing, just kind of applying pressure during practice in their bullpen, stuff like that, get them used to it. That way, whenever we go out into the game, it's easier for them to perform.
So long road trips are always a part of college athletics. Lauren, you've been here. You've already been on 3 long trips. Tell us about your go-to strategies for surviving a long bus ride or the airplane ride. Do you have a neck pillow? Do you bring snacks? Netflix? How do you kill time on those trips?
I definitely bring some snacks. We also have a snack bag too in case I don't bring something, but I always like to have like a pillow for the longer trips and a blanket as well. But yeah, I sorry, let me restart. But yeah, so a blanket, some snacks. I don't have a neck pillow, but I typically rely on doing quite a bit of homework. I'm a business major, so I don't have as much homework as some of the girls on the team, but I do have some, and I do that. And also, with Outer Banks coming out, I've been watching some of those episodes as well on the bus rides.
You anticipated my next question, which was going to be, what was your recommendation for Netflix? Who brings the best snacks on the team?
Zoe, for sure. I would say Zoe brings the best snacks. She goes to Trader Joe's almost before every trip, so she has the best snacks.
Presley, how about you? What's your tips for surviving road trips?
Yeah, they can be pretty long. I always have a pillow and a blanket. I don't typically bring snacks just because we eat so much on the road anyway. I like to take a nap on the bus. On our longer trips, I'll watch some film, stuff like that, just some last-minute preparation type stuff. A lot of times I'm watching Coach E and Coach B play their Switch. If she has her Apple TV, they'll put it on the screens, like on the bus, and we'll watch them play Mario. We'll watch softball, stuff like that. Coach B is really good about bringing her Apple TV, so we always have something going on the bus, so it makes it a little bit more bearable.
Okay, you're going to have to explain Switch.
The Nintendo Switch. So, like, half our team has one, I feel like. But Coach B and Coach E, they get after it on theirs. So it's
a video game?
It is a video game, a little handheld video game, yep.
What games do they play and who wins?
I don't know if they actually play each other, but like they're really big into Animal Crossing right now. Yeah. That's the latest one. And then anything kind of Mario, stuff like that. But
pretty mindless games they like to play.
Yeah.
Who gets to choose the movie or the softball game? How's the hierarchy on the bus?
Coach B.
Coach B.
But a lot of times we like to watch the softball games. Like we'll kind of ask can you put so-and-so on if we know that they're playing, something like that. We'll watch people in our conference, if there's a good tournament going on, we'll watch that team. A lot of times, or last year we watched season 2 of Ted Lasso while we were on the bus, kind of like, because we were traveling the first six weekends of the season. So we were able to watch Ted Lasso last year.
Ted Lasso resonates a lot with this softball team. Why is that? What is it about Ted Lasso that really grabbed this group?
I think it's just the whole message of the show. If you haven't watched it, you definitely need to watch it. But it's all about, believing in yourself, believing in each other. No one's better than anyone else in the room or on the team. You have to work together. The biggest thing is, like, we always go back to how they treat, their manager, Nate. In the beginning, before Ted gets there, they're like, oh, he's just the equipment guy, he's the towel boy, whatever. But then they start to realize, like, wow, he has a really big part of this team. He's just as important as us, So then he becomes part of the team. And I think it's just huge with our group, the kind of culture that we try to have. The real family aspect of our program really resonates a lot with Ted Lasso. And I think that's the biggest thing that's kind of, like, driven our program in the past couple years. We even got, like, a canvas that says believe in our locker room, like they have in their locker room above the door. So I think it's just huge. It's a really great message. It's so heartwarming. It's so funny. And we just love it. I think season 3 is coming out pretty soon, so we'll be watching that soon.
Lauren, I'll let you wrap it up. As we mentioned, really good schedule at home from here on out. There's Arkansas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, the conference teams. If you're going to advise a fan come out for one game or one weekend series, what would your advice be for a fan to come out, check out the Shockers and check out softball?
I think any one of those teams that we play would be a good one to come out for, but obviously if I had to choose one, I would say Arkansas. Come to the Arkansas game.
Hi, this is Rick Muma, president of Wichita State University. Check out the latest episode of the Forward Together podcast. Each episode, I sit down with different guests from Shocker Nation to celebrate the vision and mission of Wichita State University. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Great insight as always. Thanks for listening to the Roundhouse Podcast, courtesy of Wichita State University Strategic Communications. We encourage you to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can always find more Roundhouse content at GoShockers.com.
And they let him pass it up court, and then it gets picked off. A long three by Pangos, no good. 1 second, it's over. It is over, and Wichita State has beaten the #1 team in the nation to go to the Sweet 16. Go crazy, Wichita. I know you are.